Now they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks, which is a lie, and I can prove it. Oscar, do a backflip. Okay, maybe not that dog, but these canines have just learned a new trick, and it might single-handedly solve the biggest problem with recording audio to mirrorless cameras via their 3.5mm jack. Last year, I reviewed the Saramonic K9 and I said it was one of the best thought-out wireless audio systems I'd ever used. And that there was exactly one thing missing from the entire ecosystem, and that was a wireless phantom power module, so you could use it with shotgun microphones as well as regular lav mics. Well, this is that solution, the K9 XTX, which you can now purchase separately or as part of a pack along with another receiver kit to get one of the best all-in-one audio solutions for your film shoots. So either several hundred filmmakers all asked for the same product at roughly the same time and Saramonic sensibly responded to their market, or, and I'd like you to give this option genuine consideration, I am personally so influential that an international audio manufacturer heard me howling to the wind and simply obeyed. Oscar, back me up. Look, Oscar thinks it's option A, but Oscar is a dog. Oscar thinks the vacuum cleaner is a home invasion, let alone decide how influential this YouTube channel is. So this is my follow-up review to the Saramonic K9s looking at the K9 XTX. You can look at the deep dive of the original here, but the K9 XTX is a wireless transmitter specifically for XLR microphones, which can supply phantom power to a shotgun microphone and wirelessly send that signal to the K9 receiver on your camera without using an XLR cable. In other words, it lets the big dogs off the lead. Now, usual disclaimer, Saramonic sent me this to review, I get to keep it, and I got a long ongoing relationship with them. They don't have editorial on this, and they actively encourage us to provide feedback on things we don't like, and I do have a few problems with the system, which we'll get to. The K9 XTX comes in a receiver transmitter pack with another microphone transmitter, or if you already have the K9 system, you can get it standalone. It's powered by two AA batteries. You control the settings with the buttons on the front of the transmitter or via the Saramonic app on your phone. The menu is very simple, straightforward, and easy to navigate and use. It also supports timecode like the rest of the K9 kit. Inside this transmitter is a micro SD card slot for 24-bit or 32-bit float recording. It has a USB-C connection and a port to screw on an antenna at its base. It also has a port for headphone monitoring, which means you can just use the 32-bit float recording internally, monitor it directly from the transmitter with headphones and not even connect it to the receiver. Or you could monitor it at the receiver end and not even connect the receiver to a camera, which makes this whole utility pretty unique. But for me, the ultimate feature of this transmitter is its ability to provide phantom power to your shotgun microphones. It's no secret that the best shotgun mics tend to require phantom power, and traditionally you needed an XLR cable running into a field recorder to use them. Traditionally, this rules out running audio directly into your small mirrorless camera, unless of course you record externally to a separate recorder or purchase an additional expensive XLR adapter for your camera. And this K9 XTX essentially solved my biggest audio issue, finding a way to get a phantom powered XLR signal into a mirrorless camera with no XLR ports and no phantom power. So now I'm using my best phantom powered XLR mic, the Sennheiser MKH50, wirelessly with the K9 XTX and sending that signal to the Nikon ZR with nothing additional in between but that K9 receiver. Now this is chef's kiss. This is something I've been wanting to do forever. Use the best mics without the hassle of using the best mics. I don't need a cable. I don't need phantom power, and I don't even need an XLR port, at least on my camera, because the K9 XTX unlocks it all. Now there are other brands that offer similar XLR transmitter, the Deity Theos system and the Sennheiser set, but this implementation from Saramonic is very good, and this sits in the pro audio space without costing pro audio money. And let's talk about cables. Before the K9 XTX, there was a position on every small production that has never once appeared on a crew list, and that position is Cable Man. Cable Man runs the XLR from the shotgun mic down the boom pole and back to a camera or field recorder. Cable Man tapes it down so people don't trip on it. Cable Man then untapes it and moves it because the shot changed and it's going to take another 15 minutes to tape it down again. Cable Man constantly reminds the talent to look out for his cable, but they ignore him. And then the one time Cable Man doesn't tape his cable down because they move the camera positions too quickly and someone trips on the cable and blames Cable Man for their own incompetence. Sometimes Cable Man discovers his cable stopped working, normally at a time when it is absolutely critical that the cable is working, and they have to scramble to find a replacement, apologizing profusely while the rest of the crew give Cable Man salty looks. Cable Man coils up his cable at the end of the day and discovers it's been accidentally hooked around a light stand the whole time. Typical. Cable Man then goes home. He cries quietly in the car so no one sees his human frailty, but his wife still belittles him. And that behavior gets picked up by his son, who laughs at him. Despite Cable Man always trying his best to be a good husband and father, they don't care. Finally, Cable Man, like the cable itself, coils up his feelings and polishes off a six-pack of beer to numb himself to the knowledge that he has to be Cable Man tomorrow. Cable Man is not somebody you have hired. Cable Man is you. Cable Man was always you. Until now, because with the K9 XTX, Cable Man is Wireless Man, and Wireless Man is everything Cable Man ever wanted to be, and then some. Right, Oscar? He didn't appreciate the Cable Man bit. He said it was too long. But of course, the benefits of the K9 system aren't entirely related to the K9 XTX. You also get the K9 wireless lavalier transmitter as well, so you can send your premium shotgun mic signal and your premium lav mic signal directly into your camera with no drama. Which brings us back to that 32-bit float recording. If you're outside of the United States, you have the quadruple backup of recording internal 32-bit float to each transmitter as well. So if you drop signal, you don't lose any audio. Unfortunately, if you're in the States, due to a patent, you can only either transmit the signal wirelessly or record the 32-bit float internally. It won't let you do both at once. It's just one of those frustrating things. But because you have two transmitters in this kit, I would simply set the boom to record internally while my lav transmitter sends me audio to my camera and sync the boom audio in post, which is particularly easy because it has built-in timecode. You won't have to use this workaround if you're based anywhere else in the world, like here in good old New Zealand. I'm using both 32-bit internal recording and transmitting simultaneously, which is the entire point of the feature. So you know, thanks for that, land of the free.
Nothing bad can happen, it can only good happen.
Let's listen to some audio examples from the K9. So this is pretty much the dream scenario. We have a proper high quality UHF lav mic, which is recording me here. And we also have my best shotgun microphone, the MKH50 from Sennheiser, which cost a lot of money and I do like to use, but I've been using less and less for one simple reason. I have to plug it in via XLR because it requires phantom power. But the beauty is, right now, it is not connected via XLR. It is wirelessly sending a signal to the K9 Saramonic receiver, but also we can switch to 32-bit float, which it's also recording as a backup in case there's any issue with the signal.
So we kind of have the best of all worlds here. We have my best mic. It is recording 32-bit float internally. It is also sending a signal to my camera, which is also recording 32-bit float, thanks to the new K9 wireless module up here, which can power it. For me personally, I can also record 32-bit float internally simultaneously. So if there's any ever issue with the transmission, the wireless transmission from these transmitters to the camera itself, I'm totally safe because I've got the 32-bit audio float recording in both of these. So it's kind of a foolproof situation, which is just perfect for a lot of the client work that I do.
Now this setup is very straightforward. You just turn the K9 XTX on and plug in your desired microphone. In the settings, you can configure whether or not the mic is receiving phantom power, and it will pair automatically with the receiver when using the receiver's auto scan function. You can choose whether to record internally in 32-bit float or 24-bit, and you can determine if this recording is started manually through the menu or automatically when you power on the K9. Now I did the whole UHF versus 2.4 GHz mic comparison in the last video. But the short version is that UHF gives you a more reliable signal and you can change frequencies to avoid interference on that signal. Whereas with the 2.4 gig mic, when you start getting hammered with interference, there is nothing you could do about it. But for the sake of objectivity, I do want to run a couple of side-by-side comparisons when comparing this K9 setup to my 2.4 GHz setups. In this case, if I'm running a shotgun mic, it has to be one that doesn't require phantom power. But if I want optimum audio quality, there's no denying the K9 set with my Sennheiser MKH50 just has that dog in him. Ho, 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 ho! Here's the side-by-side comparison.
So this is what the audio sounds like with the new audio module running phantom power into my best mic. This is the K9 XTX, and it is going directly into my Nikon ZR. And this is what the audio sounds like. So this is an audio test with the Sennheiser MKE600, and it is plugged in wirelessly to the Hollyland M2 Max, which is running into my Nikon ZR. So this is what the shotgun audio sounds like. This is the Sennheiser MKE600, and you can also have an additional lav attached here, which can also record 32-bit float. So I'm sort of covered in all scenarios, and this is just an audio test to see what that audio sounds like. I have attached the Sanken COS 11D. So this is really just a comparison compared to the Saramonic's own proprietary lav mic, which comes with the set. So this is the Hollyland Lark Max 2, and we are doing an audio test comparing it to the DJI Mic 3, and we're also comparing it to the Saramonic Aultra. But this is the newest addition to my kit, which is the Hollyland Lark Max 2. This is a test with the DJI Mic 3. So this is the DJI Mic 3. I had very high hopes for these mics because I liked the DJI Mic Mini so much. And we're comparing this audio to the Hollyland Lark Max 2. Okay, and now we're recording with the Saramonic Aultra. Now, the Saramonic Aultra is often my go-to, but I like running them with their attached lavaliers rather than just by themselves.
And look, in typical Saramonic fashion, if you buy the new set, it comes with everything you could possibly need. Transmitter, receiver, a lav in its own case, spare antennas, memory cards for both transmitters, cold shoe, belt clip, XLR, TRS, and USB-C cables, foam windshields, colored tags so you can tell your transmitters apart, Velcro ties, and its own quality hard case, which is all greatly appreciated. It should be noted that in this set, they provided some smaller antennas for the receiver and transmitters, and this makes their footprint actually feel quite a bit smaller, which is also very welcome. Also, I did complain about the placement of the micro SD card in their transmitters in my previous video. Well, the K9 XTX has positioned this micro SD card slot in a much more accessible place. It's not behind the batteries and it's not difficult to insert or remove. So great to see the setup become even more streamlined and practical. The K9 XTX is very well thought out and easy to use. However, I do still have a few issues with the system as a whole. You can connect them to your iPhone using the Saramonic app, but as I previously mentioned, this app is still clunky. It's hard to find the settings you want to adjust in the submenus. It's hard to even know how to register your product to unlock it, and everything is very vague. I spent 3 hours just trying to update the firmware on this set and still couldn't update the receiver due to a constant failed connection. The layout of this app needs a refresh, and the integration with your microphones could definitely run smoother. In fact, battling firmware updates and app controls has been the only pain point for me using this set so far. It's becoming the one genuinely weak link in an otherwise excellent system, and it's a strange thing to keep getting wrong when the hardware itself is this well thought through. Woof. Indeed. In my testing, I also did encounter this clicking feedback on the K9 XTX internal 32-bit float recording on one occasion while testing. I don't know what it is, I don't know where it come from, but it definitely shouldn't be there.
Quick test here because we want to see the difference between the 32-bit float internal recording and then what it just sounds like going directly from the transmitter to the receiver into the Nikon ZR. So this is what the audio sounds like using the internal 32-bit float recording on the K9 XTX. It's the K9 XTX. This is what the audio is going to sound like with the K9 XTX with 32-bit float recording.
And finally, while the build quality of these overall is fantastic, the belt clips and cold shoe receiver mount does feel a bit flimsy. I'd love to see a more robust design instead of this plastic clip-on style with these thin metal wires just barely keeping the cold shoe attachment on the receiver. Something a little more sturdy would be great. Going wireless doesn't mean less gear, but it does mean less cabling. But cables have been an industry standard for the last century for a reason. You've still got these two devices, they both need turning on, and they both need to connect to each other before you roll. A cable has never lost sync, a cable has never needed a firmware update, and an XLR cable has never crashed an iPhone app as far as I know. A cable doesn't drop signal, so you're trading one set of inconveniences for some others. Maybe Cable Man wasn't the hero we wanted, but could he have been the hero we deserved? Well, you write the script then, smartass. So who is the K9 XTX for? Honestly, it might be everyone.
What do you mean everyone?
I mean a pro UHF receiver feeding the best quality shotgun audio and best quality lav audio wirelessly into any camera while recording 32-bit float is pretty awesome. Perfect for documentary shooters, perfect for corporate interviews, perfect for indie filmmakers. The only reason not to get this kit is the size compromise and price. The compact size of 2.4 gig audio recorders make them more convenient without a doubt. So if you're willing to accept the trade-off in audio quality or your wallet can't make it work, then maybe this isn't for you. But with the inclusion of this new wireless XLR unit, it's hard to argue that those little 2.4 gig mini mics can truly compete with the big dog.
The table, but look at the ring, the big dog, spare!
I still use my smaller wireless mics when aiming for speed or the smallest footprint, and I'll continue to test them because I think they're very handy when working on social media content and running and gunning. But on my higher profile jobs, the K9s are going to be the leader of the pack. Don't even start with me. Have a listen back through the headphones and tell me in the comments which configuration you like best. You'll find links in the description to the K9 XTX, and using my links supports the channel and helps feed my dog. You wouldn't want my dog to go hungry, would you?
Fuck you.
Until next time, I am the Alpha Dog, off the lead, completely wireless, 32-bit floating, 48-volt phantom-powered ISAZH filmmaker. And I'll see you when I see you.